The forest was quiet that morning, too quiet. Spring birds had not yet begun their song, and even the breeze held its breath. But then, from deep within the trees, came a sound sharp, sudden, and unmistakably desperate. A puppy's cry, alone, lost, afraid. Harold Bennett paused at the edge of the path, his cane planted in soft soil. The mother dog beside him froze. Her ears perked, tail low, eyes locked on the tree line. She did not bark. She did not whimper. She only waited, tense and alert, as though she understood something Harold did not. The younger pup, Pebble, whimpered at Harold's feet, pressing close. But the cry came again, and this time Harold knew. It was Miko, the brave one, the curious one, the one who often ran ahead and always came back until now. His cries were different. Not playful, not bold. They were terrified. Harold took a breath, gripped his cane tighter, and stepped into the woods. The mother dog moved beside him without command. Pebble followed close, his tiny body trembling. The air inside the forest was heavy, damp, and still. Leaves crackled underfoot. Somewhere ahead, Miko cried again, and it was fainter now, as if he were deeper than any of them expected. They crossed a thin stream, the stones slick beneath Harold's feet. He moved slowly, carefully, but the mother dog moved with purpose, pausing now and then to sniff the wind before continuing. The trees grew denser. The light dimmed. And then, just ahead, the forest opened into a small, unnatural clearing. At its center lay a broken ring of stone, weathered, cracked, and sunken with time. It looked like the remains of a foundation, not wide enough to be a full house, but not small enough to be forgotten. And there, near the far edge, was Miko, his body low, tail tucked, eyes wide with fear. Harold hurried toward him, heart pounding. But then he saw what had frozen the little dog in place. Half buried in the earth beside Miko's paws was something rusted, twisted and oddly familiar. A collar, old, the nameplate on it dull with grime, but just readable beneath the dirt. Buddy. Harold knelt, brushing the dirt gently away. A few feet beyond the collar, a small leather shoe, peeked out from the ground, child-sized, the kind with laces and worn solace. Beside it, a small toy truck lay tilted, its metal body eaten by time. Harold reached down and lifted a cracked silver locket from beneath a patch of moss. Inside was a photo, faded, black and white. A boy no older than 10, standing beside a smiling dog. Harold's hands shook. A chill ran through him despite the warm air. This place. It felt like it had waited for someone. Waited for this moment. The mother dog approached slowly and lowered her head, sniffing the collar. Then she looked up at Harold, eyes soft but serious, as if trying to say something words never could. The weight of what he had just found pressing down on his chest. The wind whispered through the trees like a voice from another time. He held the collar in his hand, turning it slowly, the name Buddy catching the sunlight in small flashes. He looked around. There was no roof, no walls left standing, just stones and earth and a silence that felt sacred. The mother dog lay beside him now, her body closed but her eyes watching the space beyond. She was not just resting. She was remembering. Harold opened the locket again and stared at the boy's face. He did not recognize him, but he felt like he knew him. Something about the eyes. The boy in the picture had hope in them, and the dog next to him, he looked proud, almost protective. He noticed something else buried nearby. A small notebook, its cover soaked and torn. Harold opened it gently. The pages were stuck, but a few still held faint writing. Children's handwriting. Simple sentences. Me and Buddy went to the creek today. Mama said not to go too far. Then the writing stopped. The mother dog stood up and walked in a slow circle around the area. Her nose low, tail stiff. She stopped in one corner and pawed at the dirt. Harold followed and knelt beside her. The earth gave way easily. Underneath was a thin piece of fabric, a scarf, and deeper still wooden debris, broken, rotting beams and stone. Harold understood then. This was a home once, a real home, buried by time, storm, or maybe something no one remembered. But the story of who lived here was written in the objects left behind. And somehow the dogs had found it. Complete your 1,200 words. Harold rose slowly, tucking the notebook and locket carefully into the pocket of his coat. He gave the collar one last look before slipping it inside as well. The air felt heavier now, but not in a frightening way. It was as if the forest had been holding its breath for years, and now it had finally exhaled. The dogs walked beside him in silence. Miko stuck close to the mother, no longer bounding ahead. Pebble trotted just behind Harold's heels. They crossed the stream again, and the familiar path began to reappear between the trees. The moment they stepped into the light, Harold looked back. He would never forget that clearing. Not because it was eerie or strange, but because it held something sacred, something lost and finally found. He whispered, "Thank you," though he was not sure to whom he was speaking. Maybe to the dogs. Maybe to the boy in the picture. Maybe to the woods themselves. Back at the house, Harold laid the items gently on his table. He called the local authorities, then the Historical Society. He explained what he had found and led them to the site the next day. They marked the location carefully, treating every inch with respect. A week later, news began to spread. The foundation belonged to a family thought to have vanished decades ago. A missing boy, a missing dog, a story whispered across generations. Most believed the house had been swept away in a storm. No one had ever gone looking for it. No one, that is, except a dog and her pups. Harold sat on his porch that evening, the dogs nestled around him. The sun dipped low, setting the sky ablaze with soft gold. He held the collar in his lap, the name Buddy gleaming once more. The mother dog rested her head on his knee. He placed his hand gently on her back. "You brought them home," he said softly. Harold did not speak of it much after that. He never tried to explain how the dogs had known, or why they had led him there on that exact day. Some things, he believed, were not meant to be explained. They were meant to be felt and remembered. Each evening, as the golden light faded across the trees, he would return to his chair on the porch. The dogs would gather around him, always quiet, always close. He often brought out the locket and opened it, studying the boy's face as if to say, "You are not forgotten." Sometimes he would read from the notebook. The few pages that remained spoke of creekside games, warm bread, a dog who followed everywhere. They were simple words, but to Harold they felt sacred. A child's voice speaking through time. He never thought rescuing a stray would change his life. He had simply offered food, warmth, and kindness. But what he received in return was something far greater. A connection to a forgotten story. A reminder that loyalty could stretch across generations. That some animals carry memories in their hearts that humans no longer remember. One night, as the stars blinked quietly above, Harold whispered, "You found what no one else could?" The mother dog looked up at him, her eyes soft, wise, and knowing. She said nothing, of course. She never did. But in her stillness, there was something deeper than words. And maybe that was all that mattered. Thank you for watching and sharing this story with us. If it touched your heart, please take a moment to let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and pass it along to someone who believes that love and memory can outlive even silence. Because sometimes the smallest voices, like a puppy's cry in the woods, lead us to the biggest truths.